Hi, Jonathan York from Bay Financial Partners, looking at investment markets. Pretty sort of quiet week, obviously in the US. One of the big holidays there, July the 4th, and that's taken a little bit of steam out of the markets, and sort of trading is a little bit calmer, certainly. However, you've still got the ongoing feud between sort of Donald Trump and Harley Davidson. Harley Davidson have now, sort of announced that potentially they're looking at moving some of their production out of the US to sort of circumvent the tariffs that are potentially going to be put in place from the EU bloc. EU is their second biggest marketplace. So, sort of kind of makes sense. Costs are going to go up there by around 30%. Added to that as well, also on the back of that, S&P have announced they're going to put Harley Davidson on negative credit watch. So far Trump's trade tariffs have really done very little for Harley Davidson. All they've done is sort of potentially move some jobs out of the US, which he was all in favour of trying to keep jobs in the US, and he's also potentially put them on a negative credit watch for S&P as well. But obviously, Trump being Trump, he doesn't accept any of the blame for that. He's sort of gone on a Twitter rampage, sort of tweeting that if Harley Davidson do move outside of the US, he's going to tax them like never before. He's also now just tweeted that as well. He's looking at other motorcycle companies who are looking at coming to the US and will look to replace Harley Davidson. So it seems to be getting a little bit sort of personal, which again, from the President of the United States being personal on one company doesn't really sort of bode too well, and is really not the go either. It's also been announced as well that Trump will now have a summit with Putin, which again, Trump seems sort of hell-bent on getting Russia back to the sort of top table in terms of negotiations and trade deals, etc. So it's just going to be very interesting to see what comes out of that. Still bubbling away in the background is obviously the investigation as well into the potential interference of the US election from the Russians. Special Counsel Mueller is sort of quietly going about his business, and so it will be interesting to see what comes out in the fullness of time. Potentially, though, the rubber really does hit the road this week with July the 6th. So going to be the first date for the trade tariffs in the US being put into place on Chinese goods, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that sort of plays through. Potentially Trump is talking about maybe sort of another $200 billion to maybe $500 billion worth of goods. Recent commentary from Jay Powell from the Fed, though, appears that the US economy is still in pretty good shape, sort of ticking along at around sort of 2.8 for this year. Maybe drops down to around 2.4 for 2019, and then down to 2% for 2020. Well, that could be quite interesting because 2020 is the next sort of presidential elections, and if you've got a bit of a slowing economy, again, just a little bit further pressure on the Republicans as they look to try and win a second term. Interesting, oil is sort of back well above sort of $70 now, sort of just nudged 75 and settled back around sort of high 74s at present. And it's just going to be interesting to see if that sort of pushes through. If it does, potentially maybe 80, 85 is where we're sort of looking for, and that obviously has some pretty major implications in terms of inflationary pressures for the global economy. Also as well, coming out of the UK, we've seen the Bank of England potentially talking about rate increases. May have to be a little bit quicker than first anticipated. That will be interesting to see how that sort of plays through, given the potential sort of Brexit debacle that is sort of taking place at present. Seems very little sort of momentum from the UK going forward. A lot of sort of infighting, a lot of bickering, and it's very hard to see a clear sort of plan forward in terms of the sort of UK Brexit at present. Now, obviously, if there is no sort of plan put forward and sort of ratified by the UK Parliament, potentially we get this sort of hard Brexit, which again could be pretty disastrous for the UK economy, certainly in the short term. Here in New Zealand, ticked over into July now, so KiwiSaver balances are all sort of done for the last year. Hopefully you managed to get those contributions in to get the maximum tax credit. And if you didn't, then it's a pretty important time just to check going forward for this year that you've got enough contributions going in to make sure you get those maximum tax credits going forward next July. If you are unsure what those numbers are, say give us a call on 0800 867 323 or go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz. Here in New Zealand, it looks like the nurses' strike has been averted. That takes a little bit of pressure off the government. But now, just sort of hot on the heels of that, has sort of come news that primary school teachers and principals, again, unhappy with the sort of pay recommendations put forward, and they're looking to strike for the first time for sort of quite a while in August. So again, just a further little bit of pressure being applied to the government as they sort of try and work through these sort of pay negotiations. As always, New Zealand investors, predominantly are looking for income. And if you're unsure what sort of options are available out there, give us a call on 0800 867 323 or go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles. We look forward to speaking to you soon.